I will go now with a customer case study, and I will show you the Aqua Learning. Aqua Learning is a solution we have created based on SpeedWise machine learning, and it's a machine learning based solution for fast prediction of water quality. So as you have already introduced, the SpeedWise machine learning tool is 100% hosted in the cloud, allows for parallel computing at the Amazon Web Service, and there are several algorithm types already implemented, automatic cross-validation of models, and it presents last generation tools for pre and post-processing of big databases. So I want to show you two proof of concepts. Let me start with number one, and we use this machine learning to predict acid mine drainage. And what is that? Okay, acid mine drainage is a problem that and a challenge, actually, environmental challenge in all the mines in the world, or at least in many of them. Mining activities produce large amounts of waste that must be properly managed. You can see in the picture here in the screen a waste dump. It's a big one. It's like a mountain. You can compare with a person in the forefront, and the interaction of this waste, mine waste, with water under atmospheric conditions may produce acidic water, and this is definitely detrimental for the environment. You can see in the picture down one of these reddish waters that are really acidic, so then contains a lot of pollutants that must be treated before going back to the environment. So acid mine drainage generation depends on the mineralogy of the rock, which normally is highly variable in every mine. The standard test to know whether a given rock may produce acid mine drainage is called humidity cells. You can see in the picture one of these humidity cells in the laboratory, but basically it consists on crushed rock that is exposed to humid and dry cycles in order to mimic atmospheric conditions. So in general, what happens here is that once a week, the rock is flushed with water, and then the leachate is analyzed. You can see also here in the screen the classical results that you see in the horizontal axis from C0 to C30 something, and C means cycle, and every cycle is 1 week. So then, in order to know if this particular rock waste is going to produce acidity and then environmental problems, then we need to wait for more than half a year in the laboratory for the laboratory test results being available. So then it is really inefficient because we need to wait so long time that makes the final solutions too expensive. Okay, so the idea of our test was to collect several experiments already available in a particular mine. In this case was in Peru, and you can see here that we get the statistics, but basically we have 141 experiments already available. So then using these experiments, and every experiment, I said again, remember, has 30 cycles, so this is more than 4,000 data. The idea was to test if just using the initial characterization of the sample, we could predict the final composition of the water after 30 weeks. So then we use 80% of the information for training, and we kept out of the machine the remaining 20% of the data for testing the predictive capability of our tool. So we test different algorithms, and finally we find out that this extra tree method is the best one. You can see here that we get an accuracy of 0.99 in the training phase, so it's really good, and still almost 0.88 or even more than 0.88 for the testing. So we can see that there is a average accuracy in the predictive capability, which is almost 90%. So then here you see in the plot the predicted pH with the machine learning and against the actual pH. And you see in green symbols is the predictions. So the diagonal, the pure diagonal would be a perfect match, and you can see that all the predictions we do lie in between in the range of the 80% of uncertainty, or let's say less than 20% of error. That's what we can see here. Actually, in this plot, you can see the value of pH and then the sorted ID of the samples, rock samples, from 0 to 200. This is the samples we kept for validation. And in the solid line, blue solid line is like the prediction of the machine learning prediction. And again, the green symbols are the actual measurements. And you can see that the tool is really accurate. So that was really successful. It's not only able to predict the pH, the tool, but it's also able to predict the copper, so metal concentration. So we can really predict the dissolved metals in the wastewater of the mine. So then we changed to another proof of concept. In this case, it's proof of concept number 2. It was to use machine learning to predict trace pollutants in groundwaters. And in this case, it is an example in Sweden. So in Sweden, a deep geological repository for spent nuclear fuel is going to be constructed in a place north of Stockholm. It's called the Forsmark site. And you see here the map and then a sketch of this underground facility, which is going to be one of the first in the world for a definitive solution of nuclear waste management. And then you see an aerial picture of the site. And of course, this site has been extensively studied. So a huge research program has been going on in the last decade in the place. So we have a lot of information, especially on groundwater quality data. So the idea of this particular case is that we have a database that contains a lot of information, and we can split this information in two main groups. One would be the majority elements. We call that the cheap information. And also there is information about trace elements, which are much more difficult to obtain, and we call that expensive information. Then we count with about 2,000 samples, chemical analysis of cheap information, and about 5,000 of the expensive one. So the proof of concept here was to investigate whether there is an algorithm able to predict the expensive information using as an input the cheap one. That could be a good business. And then, we test 11 different machine learning algorithms, and finally, we saw again this extra tree working very well. You see the excellent training and prediction fits that the tool is giving us. So the final results you can see here. So this is like more than 200 samples where water samples from the aquifer, when we predict some of these trace elements, these expensive elements like barium, uranium, or molybdenum. Again, in the blue line is the model prediction, the machine learning prediction, and the symbols, green symbols, is actual measurements. The gray shadow is the 80% confidence interval. So definitely you can see that the accuracy of the tool is really, really good, like 97% of accuracy for barium, and more than 85% of average accuracy for uranium and molybdenum. So this is what I wanted to show you. So in conclusion, we use this SpeedWise machine learning to develop our aqua learning solution, and the proof of concept, the results we have are really promising. Nowadays, we are using the same solutions to different clients around the world in the mining, oil and gas, and nuclear, and also in the water supply, for water supply system, especially for water treatment plants around the world. So thank you very much, and I would like to thank you for the time watching this, and enjoy the rest of the session. Thank you.